Today, we're going to chat about some local mutual aid initiatives around Calgary, Alberta. We're going to meet Alice Lam, who's a local community builder. She's the founder of Calgary Community Fridge, Good Neighbour Thrift Store, Volley, and a ton of other local initiatives. We're going to learn what mutual aid is and why it's important. Hi, I'm Jess, and this is Crafting a Community.
Yeah, so Good Neighbour is Calgary's first pay what you want thrift store. It's meant to provide a barrier-free access to thrift shopping in Calgary. My friends and I, we are entrepreneurs ourselves, and we've started different thrift stores in Calgary, and we found that there was a gap between what was being offered from kind of a multinational corporation level like Value Village and kind of our more curated thrift shops. We wanted to still provide an option for people to shop with dignity, even if they couldn't afford the prices. So in the store, you will not see any price tags. People choose what they pay at the till. Sometimes it's nothing, sometimes it's a lot, and so the people who can afford it kind of cover for people who can't, and the money basically goes towards us paying for our costs and also donating food to the community fridge. I think we're just showing a different style of doing business in Calgary. You know, this is really a social enterprise. Any money that we make above our costs just goes back to the community, which is really cool. We're still able to hire people. We're predominantly volunteer run, but because of the model of the store, we've been able to expand to a fundraiser thrift store as well, where we can provide jobs for the community, and then we've been able to just provide sustainable funding for food for Calgarians. I think something else that's really important is having a brick and mortar space provides us a physical platform to talk about the societal issues that impact individuals and why they may need cheaper clothing, why they may need access to food, and just helping us learn about our neighbors a little bit more outside of a traditional context.
So, what is mutual aid? Mutual aid is fundamentally about cooperation. It's based on the idea that individuals and communities can come together to voluntarily take responsibility for caring for one another. People donate their own goods and services to others in a way that's mutually beneficial for their communities. By working together to figure out what strategies and resources are needed, people are giving what they can and taking what they need while organizing against the systems that allow these disparities to take place in the first place. Good Neighbour and the Calgary Community Fridge are organized in a way that's free of judgment and is accessible to all people. There's no minimum donations required or policing on how people should use these donations. They both mandate that people should take whatever they need and give whenever they can, and that solidarity, not charity, is the mindset here. The Calgary Community Fridge is located in the historical Tigerstead block in Crescent Heights. It helps those facing financial insecurity to access free, fresh, and healthy food 24/7, no questions asked. There's a fridge, freezer, and pantry, and anyone can donate, and it's run entirely by volunteers. It's all about building community, removing barriers, and reducing food waste.
During the pandemic, you know, a lot of people were staying at home and a lot of people lost their jobs, not able to get them back. A lot of income started dropping dramatically, and we saw community fridges pop up elsewhere in North America, like New York and Toronto, and we were just really inspired by it. A group of friends, including myself, basically came together and said, you know, let's pilot this. And what would it look like if we were to do it? And within a couple of days, we were able to raise $15,000, and we were able to get a company to donate wood to build the structure for the fridge. We got the fridges donated, and so it, again, was like a really good example of the community coming together for a great cause, and kind of doing it in a super cool grassroots method. And since then, we've been open for more than 2 years, almost 3 years, which is kind of nuts to think about. And it exists. It's definitely not solving the wider societal issue of hunger and food scarcity, but I think it's giving people a way to give back that they normally wouldn't have had access to. So it's been really cool and fulfilling in that regard. So Volley is a website that we started with software developers that donated their time to build a website to connect volunteers to nonprofits in Calgary and hopefully in the future all across Canada. And basically the idea is to make volunteering easy for people. Like, instead of spending lots of time researching and Googling different initiatives, you can just find something quickly and start volunteering right away. And hopefully once you get that volunteering bug like I did, then you'll kind of continue to do it just as a part of your daily life, as like something that is incorporated into your routine. And then for the past few years, we've also gotten into just like creating more social enterprise initiatives and event planning. So we plan like fun night markets, movie nights, like live music shows, all that stuff. Just anything to get people out of their homes and into their neighborhoods to meet each other is kind of what we're all about. We always need volunteers to help with Good Neighbor or the Calgary Community Fridge. You can always reach out to us on social media. This is people powered, right? Like it doesn't just rest on myself, and this is not something that could be maintained from hiring staff alone. Like the cost would be exorbitant. So being able to have volunteers, we have about 60 volunteers who help out at Good Neighbor on a weekly basis, 20 at the Community Fridge. And so it's really like a project by Calgarians for Calgarians. Don't be shy about volunteering, whether it's for us or for another organization in your community. I always remind people, like, you have to kind of test things out. Like it's like going on a date. Like the first date you go on might not be the right fit, but you kind of have to go through a few different ones to see what organizations you like, what are the causes you care about, and what's like the makeup. Do you like a more mutual aid type of organization, or do you want something more structured like a registered charity, right? There's a whole spectrum of things available. So I'm super passionate about being able to connect people, and that's what Volley is for, which is like the head kind of nonprofit that like represents all of these organizations. We're there to kind of just like make it less scary to find something to do and a way for you to give back. I think the most rewarding part of this project is not only seeing people who have been able to get back on their feet, people who've come back to contribute after they're in a better financial situation, but also being able to really provide a venue for kids to volunteer in. Normally, kids aren't able to volunteer at a lot of not-for-profits, but because we're just hanging clothes, it's something they should be doing at home anyways. It's been super fun to see families bring their kids and volunteering together. I would say the other aspect is just being able to show Calgarians that we can do something cool and unique and different from how business is typically done and do it in a sustainable manner. I think it's been inspiring to other people, and so being able to mentor the next generation in starting their projects, creating these spaces, and also hearing from Calgarians that lived away for a long time and are moving here and saying, oh my gosh, we love the Community Fridge, we love Good Neighbor, we love, Volley and all that stuff. It's super rewarding. When we first started, there were a lot of people who were super doubtful about, our intentions or the impact that we would be able to make. There was actually a lot of trolls on the internet that said, you guys are going to shut down in a week. This will never last. And I think we've been able to prove them wrong. And I think for anybody out there who's curious about what social enterprise looks like, what a volunteer run initiative can look like, there's a lot of stigma and a lot of misconceptions, and I think, come by and visit. What we're trying to do with Get Thrift is, like, if you're going to be donating your stuff anyways, donate to us, because at least it's going to go and make like a direct local impact. And we're keeping things out of our landfills. It's not being sent to a third world country to deal with, which you see all the time. So I think we're pretty lucky in that we've had a lot of really good support. We have a lot of very loyal volunteers, and I think there's always room for everybody. And so, whether you want to be inspired by the idea or you want to be a part of it, or you want to take this idea and take it somewhere else, like we say, go for it, right? Like we, through the fridge and our providing resources to fridges in other cities, like we've been able to help like 8 fridges start in Western Canada, which is really cool. What I've learned from community building over the past like 10 years basically is that you have to be super authentic and just be very honest about what you want to do and why you want to do it. I am very lucky to have a group of people who really believe in like my vision for the city, and they like to see that it's empathetic and it's inclusive and approachable and just kind of fun and cute, like we want things to be vibrant and bright. It really should be about like moving forward together and moving up. I'm a firm believer in giving everybody a chance to kind of participate if possible, or if at least if this isn't the right space for them, then like helping them find where that space is, because I do have access to resources, and I do have the privilege of knowing about different organizations in Calgary and different groups. And so being able to pass on that knowledge and make it so that somebody can find their community, because it might not be ours, it could be something different, or giving them the skills and the kind of motivation to start their own community as well, is super inspiring for me.
There's so many ways to contribute to your local communities, whether it's through organizing like Alice, or donating your time, your money, or some goods. If you have the means to donate something, please do. And by that same token, if you require help, don't be afraid to accept it from the people around you. After all, that's what building a community is all about. So until next time.